It's Monday, September 7th, and this is now on HNN.
We're seeing people try to flout the rules, right? They're having big gatherings on the water.
It's Labor Day, and health officials are warning that this unofficial end of summer could bring a spike in coronavirus cases.
On Kauai, an alleged religious cult leaves the North Shore property they were staying at.
Just keep going. Go. Just keep going. Oh.
One of the worst heat waves in California history is slowing efforts to control dozens of wildfires.
Fastest growing fire I had ever even heard of, let alone seen.
Haishin has been battering parts of Asia for days now. An update as we continue to track this severe weather coming up on This Is Now. Thank you for watching This Is Now on this Labor Day. I'm Jonathan, your director. Alongside Ashley, we want to begin with the latest numbers the state is reporting.
Hey everyone, health officials say another patient with COVID-19 has died, bringing Hawaii's death toll to 86. DOH is also reporting 105 new cases today. The breakdown by county shows 90 cases are on Oahu, 11 are on the Big Island, and 4 are on Maui. And we have a traffic alert for you on Oahu. There is a caravan and rally planned today here on Oahu. It's all part of a protest against the state and city's emergency orders. Organizers say they'll start at the Navy Exchange parking lot at around 1 o'clock. Then they'll drive to Honolulu Hale, where the protest will take place until 4 p.m.
All right, let's take you live outside now to Waikiki. This is a live video feed coming into the H&N Digital Center. A lot of people in the water, but I gotta say, not too many people there lounging on the beach from what we can see from this distance. Usually it's a little bit more crowded in a non-pandemic day. Keep in mind today, even though it's Labor Day, those restrictions are still in place. To explain more on that, let's turn it over to Casey Lund.
Certainly a different scene here at Kailua Beach for Labor Day. Normally you see all the cars, folks getting ready to set up their tents and grill and really get together. But this is definitely a Labor Day like most of us haven't seen here, though we have been seeing folks at Ala Moana Beach Park, Kaimana, and then here at Kailua Beach, still accessing the water, not lounging on the sand. Most of the folks that are out there surfing, fishing, or paddleboarding, trying to follow the rules.
And this is like no Labor Day I've ever experienced ever. You know, this is really strange. This place would be just crowded with people. I mean, this is just not like anything that I've ever seen before. We usually come down here to swim, participate in some kind of friends group. I want to say a group kind of get together where we take advantage of the beach down there, but we mainly go out for a swim and then come back and do like a little bike ride, and that's kind of what we're doing today, but on a smaller scale.
Still, HPD did cite people for lounging on the beach this weekend, and in Waikiki you could see hundreds of people floating in the water.
Normally on this day you'd see tents on the beach, people walking as they do daily, fishing, swimming. The park behind me would be full of people in meetings or luau's or parties, birthday parties, that kind of thing.
What do you make of this? Do you think it's too much, or do you think it's important to kind of curb these big holiday gatherings?
I think it's important for us to take a step back and get this COVID under control, but I think also perhaps we've gone a little too far. I mean, people can walk the beach safely and do need recreational outlets, as long as they're not congregating or loitering, or in groups. Walking in small numbers, but I would strongly support opening up the beach to at least recreation.
We talked to one surfer at Ala Moana Beach Park who says you've got to get there pretty early to get one of the very limited spaces, since you can't actually go inside to park your vehicle.
It's very inconvenient. We have to be here around 4. If you're here, and there are waves, if you're here around 4:30, you're not going to find a good spot. With the beach parks closed, that's going to hopefully eliminate a lot of gathering, and hopefully it'll kind of help people to be a little more responsible. Perhaps this is the new normal. I hope not.
Honolulu Mayor Kirk Caldwell took to Twitter this weekend regarding Labor Day and said in part, "Thank you to everyone staying home this Labor Day." We know this isn't easy, but by staying home and keeping your distance, you're saving lives. He also tweeted, quote, as we celebrate Labor Day weekend, let's keep in mind that our state likely is to surpass 10,000 total coronavirus cases. Someone has died from the virus almost every day for the past 2 weeks, and it's been over a month since we've had less than 100 cases in a single day. Now, a reminder that the stay-at-home order is in effect for Oahu through September 9th. A lot of people that I talk to think that that will get extended, though it hasn't officially been just yet. And a reminder that on Hawaii Island, all county and state beach parks are also closed. In Kailua, I'm Casey Lunn, reporting for This Is Now.
Health officials across the nation are echoing what we're hearing right here at home. Labor Day, the unofficial end of summer, often marked by gatherings and those large parties, could bring a spike in coronavirus cases. Nikki Batiste has more from New Jersey.
It wasn't just the beaches. Amusement parks, this one near Pittsburgh, saw large crowds, while in Orlando, Disney World and Universal Studios hit their limited capacity restrictions. A Burning Man-themed party on San Francisco's beach drew more than 1,000 people Saturday night and was harshly condemned by the mayor, who tweeted, "This was absolutely reckless and selfish," adding, "You are putting people's lives at risk."
Relative to where we were heading into Memorial Day, we have an equivalent amount, if not more, infection heading into Labor Day right now.
On Face the Nation, former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb warned there could be another spike in new cases, similar to the one following Memorial Day weekend, but even more dangerous this time.
We're heading into the fall and the winter when we would expect a respiratory pathogen like a coronavirus to start spreading more aggressively than it would in the summertime.
Hundreds of young people partied at a Manhattan park near New York University Saturday night. The university is launching an investigation and had already suspended more than 20 students for unrelated health violations. San Diego State brought in security guards after 120 students tested positive over a 2-day period. In-person classes have been suspended.
My office has already issued over 450 violations to individual students and organizations. We are doing everything within our power to ensure that we're prioritizing the health and safety of our students.
As you celebrate the unofficial end of summer today, remember, officials say that spread is happening at more intimate gatherings like backyard barbecues. Americans are urged to wear a mask and keep physical distance, even with friends and family who do not already live with you. Nikki Batiste, CBS News, Asbury Park, New Jersey.
A group of alleged cult members who are staying on Kauai are now heading home to Colorado. Residents cheered as the members were escorted off their rental property in Haena by police yesterday. Since last week, those residents have protested the religious group called Love Has Won. Civil Beat reports that demonstrators damaged the home they were renting on Friday night, and a van's window was smashed too. Police say the group did not violate any of the COVID-19 rules. 3 of them flew to Maui and 11 to Oahu to catch connections to the mainland, according to the Visitor Aloha Society, or VASH, which provided assistance with their departures. Here's a little more background on the group according to Civil Beat. They say they are a religious group, not a cult. They call their leader Mother or Mom. They sell products that they claim can heal ailments and post videos online regularly, including one that reportedly shows the leader torturing a cat. They are based out of Crestone, Colorado, and a law enforcement official in that state described Love Has Won as a cult. Famous music producer Rick Rubin is scheduled to appear in court December 9th for allegedly violating quarantine on Kauai. Police say the 57-year-old arrived on island Tuesday. The next day, KPD says officers cited the music mogul after he was seen walking on Anini Beach. Rubin is a multiple Grammy Award winner for work with artists like Adele and the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Also wanted to make sure you knew there are 5 testing events taking place on Oahu today. Billy V has more on those.
And let's go ahead and show you. This is West Lock Village Estates, elderly village. And this is where the testing was done earlier today from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Testing comes after 2 individuals living at this property recently tested positive for the coronavirus. The testing was free, insurance not required, but everybody was encouraged to pre-register as you are for any of the other sites. Also, Kurt Favela, who's the state senator for this area, asked the mayor's office if they could hold testing across the street because it's all kupuna here. For them, traveling to testing sites would be difficult or time consuming, or even coming across the street. So a Sing Community School, they said, you know what, let's go ahead and change that. We'll change that to back on the property. So the residents are going to be able, or were able to be tested there exclusively, just for the residents only today. Also, let's tell you that there are other sites where you can get tested, and the testing is still going on now. Here are the sites: Farrington High School, Eva Mackay Middle School, Waianae Intermediate, Kaiser High School, and Aloha Stadium. Those testing sites are open right now, and they will be until 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can register doineedacovid19test.com. From Eva Beach, we'll send it back to you.
Cell phone video of a crowded bus has some riders questioning the city's transportation services during the pandemic. Our Jolani Martinez spoke with one rider who says it just isn't safe.
And the rider I spoke with relies on public transportation and is asking for modifications to bus routes, especially for the ones that are most crowded. Daniel Halomo took this video of a crowded bus at around 8 p.m. on Friday. He says riders on Route 13 in Waikiki were arm to arm, and adds that he didn't want to get off the bus because he could not wait for the next one.
It's really stressful when you're trying to get somewhere and you're worrying about not only your food, but your life in getting on public transportation.
According to the City Department of Transportation Services Deputy Director Don Nucci, as of September 1st, on routes numbered 1 to 20, bus operators will limit riders to no more than 15 passengers on a small bus, 20 passengers on a standard bus, and 30 passengers on their large accordion-style buses between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. He adds that buses are monitored and trips are added to provide additional capacity when possible. Nucci says the city is adding over 30 extra buses per day to offer physical distancing on their most crowded routes. Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
It's a busy weekend for holiday travel. The Transportation Security Administration says it screened almost 1 million passengers on Friday. That's a record since the pandemic began. In comparison, they saw double that number the year before. TSA says they saw less people on Saturday. Only about 500,000 people traveled that day. Atlas Air says a thorough inspection is underway after flame burst out of an airplane engine. It happened Saturday night on board a military chartered flight. The Boeing 767 made an emergency landing when loud banging noises were heard and fire was spotted just 3 minutes after takeoff from Honolulu. One runway was closed as state firefighters responded. 212 people were on board at the time, but no one was injured.
All right, guys, you've got to check out this new video into our newsroom out of California. For our podcast listeners, I'm going to do my best to describe it to you, but check it out. Some hikers got caught in a wildfire, making a daring escape. The video shows them in their vehicle on a very narrow road in the Sierra National Forest as a wildfire rages on both sides of the road. Check this out. Very scary stuff here. Those hikers say they cut their backpacking trip short as they started to see it literally rain ash. That's when they knew they had to get out of there. The hikers made it out safely, but say they'd really wish they had gotten the name of the forest ranger who helped them get out. Keep in mind, there are dozens of major wildfires burning right now in California. With the wrap-up of that, let's turn it over to Chris Martinez.
24 major wildfires are tearing across California, from San Bernardino County to San Diego to the San Francisco Bay Area.
We have kind of the trifecta of everything, right? We have the winds picking up, we have the super hot temperatures, we have the dry air mass. On top of that, you look at the terrain that we're dealing with out here, a lot of rugged terrain.
The Creek Fire in the Sierra National Forest near Mammoth Lakes has already burned nearly 80,000 acres, or 121 square miles. Several structures are destroyed. Hundreds were forced from their homes.
It was the fastest growing fire I had ever even heard of, let alone seen. It was amazing.
Dennis Drake and his family were among the 200 people rescued by a California National Guard helicopter when their campground became surrounded by fire. Many jumped into the reservoir to escape the flames.
We just keep going under and under and under, and it's like, in my mind, I'm going, okay, are we going to die from the fire or are we going to die from drowning?
In San Bernardino County, officials say the El Dorado fire started because of fireworks set off during a gender reveal photo op on Saturday. 3,000 people are under evacuation orders. The Valley Fire near San Diego has burned more than 16 square miles. Residents are on edge.
We keep thinking they've got it, and then it flares back up, and it's just total devastation.
Another fire near Los Angeles forced the evacuation of Mount Wilson Observatory. Almost 2 million acres have burned so far this wildfire season in California, a new record. Chris Martinez, CBS News.
Typhoon Haishen may have weakened to a tropical storm, but it isn't done yet. After battering Japan, the storm is now headed toward the Korean peninsula. Paula Hancock has more.
The CNN weather department says that usually there's 1 or 2 every season, so we really are having a very active typhoon season. And of course it comes after an extremely bad monsoon season. The rainfall has been extremely heavy in North and South Korea this summer, so certainly the Korean peninsula does not need more rain, but that is exactly what is happening with this typhoon at this point, skirting up the east coast of the Korean peninsula after it has battered Japan. Now, there has been the first loss of life confirmed in Japan. We know 4 people are missing at this point as landslides pushed houses into a river. Now, there is also 1 missing on the east coast of South Korea. Hundreds of thousands of people in both countries have lost power. Hundreds of flights have been cancelled. But of course, Japan and South Korea are countries that have a good infrastructure, that are able to cope with this kind of severe weather. What is a concern now is that this storm will skirt the east coast of North Korea, which obviously does not have the infrastructure in place. Now, we did see the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, touring one of the areas that had been damaged from the previous typhoon, which was just a matter of days ago. And they certainly are concerned about what this typhoon will bring, especially when it comes to wind and rainfall. And one of the concerns is for the agriculture industry. We are close to harvesting the crops, and certainly in a country like North Korea, which has such significant food insecurity, any damage to crops will be of great concern. And we have seen from state-run media in North Korea, that is one of the things that Kim Jong-un has asked his people to try and cope with. But unusually, what we saw, as we did last week, was North Korean state-run television also having live reports showing just how concerned they are about this recent weather. Paula Hancock, CNN Seoul.
Thank you, Paula. Want to talk about the Atlantic hurricane season? That's because there's some breaking news out of there. There's just been 2 new tropical storms that formed. One is named Renee, and the reason why that is important is because it's an R name. This is the earliest R-named storm on record. Previously, the last earliest R-named storm was 2005 on September. Also in September, so
wow,
breaking records there. Yeah. Let's turn it over to Guy Hoggy with a check of our weather.
How's it? We're in for gorgeous Labor Day weather, and the weather really is not going to change in any significant way anytime soon. So we'll get more windward and Malka showers falling in those overnight and early morning hours. Rainfall totals will be insignificant. And the trade winds, they'll run steady, especially from Maui to Kauai. They'll run about 10 to 20 miles an hour. Of course, over on the Kona side, they won't get those trade winds, so it's going to be hot and sticky down for Kona and West Hawaii. Otherwise, we'll see typical trade wind weather, textbook stuff. High temperatures running to about 90 degrees for some areas over the next several days. And what we see today will repeat into the weekend, although the weekend will have lighter winds and more humid conditions. Now, the swell's going to be relatively small, dropping swells for south and east shores. But by tomorrow, look for a building swell of all places up in the country. Preseason action, let's say. Not going to be a big one, but at least we could see some head-high waves Tuesday and Wednesday for north and maybe even the west shores. So 10 to 20 mile an hour winds all the way through Friday, and then starting late Friday, light winds take over with hot, humid conditions for the weekend. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
We got some more Mario news that the internet is certainly talking about today, or am I just talking about it? I don't know.
The internet is.
Yeah, it's cool though. Last week we told you about Mario's new kart game. Well, now we're going back in time to some vintage games that are going to be re-released as part of Nintendo Switch. They're really making this part of the holiday push of their new games. So here's what's being re-released for gamers. Super Mario 64,
Yes.
Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Again, all on the Nintendo Switch. You'll remember those came out in the 90s and 2000s. Some of the games I played with, my very self, I love those. These will debut September 18th. So, Ashley, guess what's on my Christmas list?
Okay, you got it. I don't remember the last two though.
Galaxy, it was
And
one of the ones in the
Sunshine?
2000s.
Okay.
And Sunshine, I remember the graphics, but honestly, I can't remember playing it too much.
Okay.
But I'm excited. I'm excited about all this Mario news
I
we're
love
talking about. The
anything
cart
Mario.
game looked really fun last week we showed you.
That's right. This is what I found. So Google Maps is adding some new features and icons to its app. Traffic lights at intersections in a number of U.S. cities. So company officials say the change was made to help people stay better informed on the road. The update also includes a color mapping algorithm technique to help users more easily identify varying terrain such as beaches and forests.
Very cool. Very high-tech stuff there. I saw this story and I really thought of you because you have dreams of going to Kenya.
Oh, yes, I do. And I thought it's because I stand like a flamingo.
Oh.
I do that sometimes. I'll show you later. So 8 years ago, rising water levels in Kenya's Lake Nakuru drove away flocks of flamingos that were the park's biggest draw. It's because the high water levels shrink the birds' ideal breeding and feeding grounds. Well, rangers say their disappearance triggered a drop in visitor numbers, but now they're back. So the pink birds were seen foraging for food in the lake's turquoise waters. The return has rekindled hopes of a gradual rebound in an area heavily reliant on tourists for employment and revenues. So did you know, Jonathan?
No, already.
Why are flamingos pink?
Oh man, I think I do know that it's something they eat, right?
That's right. So
Okay.
they eat insects, crustaceans, and algae, which gives them their pink hue. So it's kind of the same effect we see when shrimp turns pink when you cook it.
Oh, I didn't know that's how you shrimp. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
The more you know.
Well, tomorrow is a big day for me, Star Trek Day, guys. And to celebrate, a group of super fans are doing something special. We got Dan at CNN. He's going to tell us what's up.
To paraphrase Christopher Plummer in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, you've not heard Queen until you've heard it sung in the original Klingon. Musician and Star Trek fan Rusty Mattias beamed aboard a group of like-minded musicians to create a Klingon language cover of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody.
I really love sci-fi, all forms of it, and I love music, kind of all forms of it too, and I love giving myself musical challenges. And I have access to a studio, and so I thought, and I have a Klingon dictionary, and I thought, what would be a really difficult and epic song to do in Klingon? And Bohemian Rhapsody came to mind right away. So I found a translation on Reddit that was still on an ongoing process, and I wanted to hear what it sounded like. So we recorded it. When we were going through, we actually hired somebody. I put out a call on social media locally in Winnipeg here for anybody who spoke Klingon, and immediately had to choose from like 3 different people.
Rocking out in Klingon in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Whoa, those are some skills there that I do not possess.
I was going to say, if I ever see you on something like that, Jonathan.
It could happen.
It could happen.
Maybe at 4.
Maybe at 4. Yeah. You guys, today's the big day. We're launching our brand new 4 p.m. newscast today called First at 4. Mark Carpenter and I are so excited to be with you weekdays for an hour on KHNL. So if you're not doing it,